Hello, welcome to the Fanfic Majesty. 9DBOPM. Chapter 161. Jiren Break vs 5th Universe. 5 updates, please subscribe. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. At this time, Chi-Yu was already waiting at the door of the Time and Spirit Room, and when he saw Beerus and the others, he greeted them first. After seeing Chi-Yu, Beerus couldn't help but nodded in satisfaction and said, "I knew it, you would definitely come." 17. Chi-Yu said. After thinking about it for a while, I think Zeno's position is really attractive. Vegeta snorted coldly and said, "You haven't just been idle at home all these years, have you? If so, then I will accept Zeno's position." Chi-Yu yawned and said, "I've been cultivating these years, and to be honest, it's pretty hard. Team Pride is still dressed in red. Wisdom Universe has brought a super-sized new robot. The people of 7th Universe have not changed much, except for the newly replaced Brawly and K, the other personnel basically remain the same." Vegeta said, "If you really have that ability, come here. In the first match, Jiren from the 10th Universe will fight against Yagra from the 5th Universe, please come on stage." Vegeta, who got the blue ball, snorted coldly and said, "It's just for you to see the results of my practice." The first one to arrive was the 6th Universe, and when he saw the color of the ring, Champa cried out. Advertisement. Are you Jiren from the 11th Universe? The runner-up in the Tournament of Power. Riding on Wisp Beam of Light, everyone flew towards the arena located in the realm of nothingness. After all, Grand Priest waved his hand, and a box containing various spheres appeared in front of everyone. Chi-Yu reached in and was lucky enough to get a red sphere. At this time, other universes also arrived at the venue one after another. There are a total of 12 participating universes, and each universe has 10 people, which amounts to 120 people. As a 2x2 group arena, the number of people is really a bit inappropriate. Jiren Po closed his eyes and did not answer Agra's words. Frieza also got the blue ball. He looked at his number and said, "I am number 6, Vegeta, if we meet in the first round, I will kill you without hesitation." Agra ranks 4th in the 5th universe, much stronger than Gale, who appeared in the 7th universe last time. As a warrior from the advanced universe, Agra, like Gale, is full of arrogance. Everyone in the 7th universe was lucky. Except for Gohan, Frieza and Vegeta, Yin's family even got the red ball. "I have spent 2 years facing the Star Stone every day. Since Hit said so, it must be right. But the Star Stone is originally something from the foreign world. Where did the Grand Priest get so many?" Advertisement. That is to say, there is no need to fight Chi-Yu in the skirmish. Chi-Yu's eyes scanned the players in the first universe, but couldn't find the one who looked like Camus. Moreover, only 9 people came to the entire first universe. It seems that this Camus was hidden as a secret weapon. Could this be the Star Stone? Chi-Yu knows how to practice, and no one would believe such a thing if he killed this group of people. At best, it's just 200 push-ups a day, and then run 10 kilometers. People from the 5th, 8th, 1st, 12th and 4 universes have all stood in front of everyone, but none of these people recognize them, and they don't know what kind of abilities they have. For Universe, who has already participated in the Tournament of Power, this is really bad news. Old tradition. Skirmish. The group arena is a 2-on-2 competition system, so the contestants must also be a power of 2. Except for Chi-Yu, no one would regard this kind of thing as cultivation. Gohan rushed out to smooth things over. At this time, Grand Priest had announced the opponents of the first match. Therefore, Grand Priest decided to send some of them directly as the 520 did last time, so as to ensure the normal progress of the subsequent main race. As for who to escort, it has to be decided by the skirmish. Advertisement. Seeing that Jiren Po ignored him, Agra was very unhappy and said, "Boy, did you not hear what I was asking you? I just wanted to knock you out of the ring and be done with it. Now it seems that I have to kill you just do it." Unlike last time, this time the arena was built bigger, and the materials were also different from last time. When Hit and Champa raised questions, Grand Priest explained, "Actually, this is not the real Star Rock, but I, CCCJ, created it myself, CCCJ, according to the molecular structure of the Star Rock, although it is not as hard as the real Star Rock, but it is also very difficult to be broken. I believe that the situation at the Power Conference should not happen again." Beerus said. "The Grand Priest is already calling, let's go to the arena first." Chi-Yu said. "It should be 10 days before 2 years. Hit nodded and said affirmatively, "That's right, it's the Star Stone." Everyone in the 5th universe laughed viciously. A low-level universe guy dared to be so rude. From everyone's point of view, Jiren's breaking is probably a bad luck rhythm. Of course, everyone's attention is still mainly focused on the 4 universes that have not appeared before. At this time, Grand Priest began to introduce the rules of the skirmish to everyone. The number of contestants is really too much now. In order to ensure the normal progress of the group arena, we need to eliminate some of them first. Next, let's draw lots. Those who catch the blue sphere, please match your opponent according to your own number, and those who catch the red serial number will automatically advance to the next round of competition. The Xeno selection competition is an individual battle, and actually has little to do with universe. But after all, it involves the interests of the universe itself, and everyone has more or less feelings for the universe they were born in, so they generally form groups based on the universe as a unit. Advertisement. Chapter 162 Son Gohan vs. Gabe, one more, please subscribe. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. The laughter gradually subsided, and suddenly, Jiren said something very strange. He turned to Chi Yu in the stands and said, "In the past, I couldn't even compare to Shendu, a high-level universe king, but now I can beat the official warrior of the high-level universe. Chi Yu, have you seen it? As long as you put in effort and sweat, people, you can become stronger, you can't always be on top." Yagra folded his hands and said, "What are you talking about? I am your opponent. Where are you looking?" Jiren Po ignored Agra and walked down the ring without looking back. Seeing Jiren leave the ring, Agra said, "Pretend to be great, so you dare not abstain." At this moment, Grand Priest suddenly raised his hand and said, "I declare that Jiren, the player from the first universe, wins." Grand Priest's words made the entire venue instantly silent, and everyone who was still laughing at Jiren just now was stunned, like ostriches that have lost their souls. Yagra said anxiously, "Wait for the Grand Priest. We haven't started the fight yet. Why did you announce that Jiren Po won? Why did the winner be Jiren Po?" And he walked off the ring. "Don't you understand? It's so sad." Jiren turned around and said, "You're already dead." As soon as he finished speaking, Agra quickly twisted up, blood gushed wildly, and then suddenly fell to the ground. The whole venue was suddenly in an uproar. Advertisement. Which of you saw his movements clearly? I heard that the speed of the attack is so fast that it can make the dead think that they are still alive, but I didn't expect it to be true. How could such a low-level world as the 11th universe have such a powerful warrior? Jin in the stands couldn't help but nodded and said, "Even I didn't expect that Jiren's breaking can reach this level." Agu wiped the cold sweat from his brow. As someone who had beaten Jiren Po violently, he was under the greatest pressure. It is conceivable that once he meets Jiren in the arena, he will definitely disown him without hesitation. Agu tremblingly said, "Jiren Po has such potential, I really missed it." Jin shook his head and said, "No, maybe it's not because of his talent that he became so strong." Agudao. Why is that? Jin looked at Chi Yu in the 7th Universe Auditorium and said, "Because he encountered a strong enough enemy. For a warrior, the belief in defeating the enemy is the best catalyst. Obviously, he encountered a very terrifying enemy. If it weren't for the strong desire to defeat Chi Yu, Jirenpo would not have reached the level he is today." Not only Jin, but even Beerus realized Jiren's intention to fight against Chi Yu. He turned his head to look at Chi Yu and said, "Are you confident in facing such a powerful enemy?" Chi Yu frowned slightly, and then said nothing. His gaze was still looking at the vacant seat in the first universe. If nothing else, this seat should belong to the person named Camus. The second one was Son Gohan. Seeing Gohan on the stage, Beerus and others all had smiles on their faces. Advertisement. Chi Yu asked, "Is there anything funny?" Goku said, "The bald devil, it's time to show you the results of our decades of hard work." Gohan at this time is different from before. Chi Yu asked, "How strong is it?" Vegeta frowned slightly, then said in a deep voice, "Better than me." Chi Yu smiled slightly before shifting his gaze from the stands of the first universe to the ring. A guy as proud as Vegeta actually admits that he is not as good as Gohan, which shows that Gohan's strength is indeed extraordinary. Strictly speaking, Son Gohan is the most talented warrior among the protagonists. As early as the Cell era, his strength has already surpassed Goku and Vegeta. It's just that this guy's ambition is not above martial arts, otherwise his strength must be extremely terrifying. But today's Gohan is a Gohan who has been practicing penance for countless years, and he should have stimulated his true potential. Asking for flowers. Gohan's opponent is Gabe, the Saiyan from the 6th universe. Son Gohan inspired his own aura, forming an arrogance around his body. There is no change in his appearance, just like the humans in common. Gabe was surprised. "You are Son Goku's Son Gohan. How can you not even change Super Saiyan?" Son Gohan patted his head, his stupid look was exactly the same as Son Goku's. Advertisement. "Sorry, I can only fight in this general form." Gabe sighed and said, "That's such a pity, this is the first match, I don't want to be eliminated so soon." 0. After he finished speaking, he started to roar, energy lightning lingered around him, and after a while, he turned into a Saiyan with long gold hair. In 2 years, Gabe has practiced to Super Saiyan 3. Gabe shouted to Vegeta in the stands, Master Vegeta, look at the results of my practice. I am only one step away from you. When I become a Super Saiyan Blue God, I will definitely defeat you myself. Chi Yu clutched his forehead and kept shaking his head. This guy named Bei is really cute. Seeing the innocence of the land, Vegeta, as the master, couldn't help shouting, "Don't embarrass yourself here, get out of here." Gabe was at a loss and said, "Master, what are you talking about?" Vegeta said, "Can't you see the comparison of strengths? Idiot, this guy in front of you is an enemy that even I can't defeat." Gabe looked at Son Gohan in astonishment, and found that he was still in a normal state, but he couldn't feel his breath. The next moment, Son Gohan appeared in front of his eyes, and said, "Sorry, if I lose, Vegeta uncle will scold me." So. Suddenly, there was a sharp pain in Gabe's ribs, and he fell down straight like this. Mouth. Advertisement. Chapter 163 Hit vs Gods of Destruction, 2 more, please subscribe. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Although he had already guessed to take it, Champa still couldn't help gnashing his teeth and was hitting the guardrail of the stands with his fist. Bados said, "Master Champa, please be more gracious." Champa said, "Damn Beerus, my warrior lost to Beerus again." Bados said, "The next one is Hit, you can rest assured." Speaking of Hit, Champa immediately felt relieved. The suffering that Hit has suffered in these years is simply beyond people's imagination. In order to become stronger, he left himself alone on the desert planet and practiced day and night. It is precisely because of this that Hit has obtained such a powerful king of power. But after seeing Hit's opponent, Champa's face darkened immediately. Walking onto the stage was a golden-haired fox, 590, raccoon, who was the 8th Universe Gods of Destruction Gilliel. The Xeno selection contest was launched for all warriors, and Gods of Destruction was of course included. Unexpectedly, Gillier got Blue's ball. He stroked his golden hair and said, "I am the mighty Gods of Destruction, but I want to end up fighting Immortal myself. It's really not perfect." Gillier walked towards Hit with heavy steps, and said viciously, "In this form, my strength and speed will become 10 times that of before. Are you ready to suffer, you bastard?" Champa protested against Grand Priest from the stands. "I am against this game, how can a guy like Gillier be here?" Advertisement. Seeing that Gillier was motionless, he immediately launched the Flash Time Kung Fu, and then attacked Gillier. Immediately, 10 incomparably sinister chills seeped out from Gillier's heart. "What did you say?" Ivan said. "This is the strongest form of Gilliel. He usually pursues the beauty of his own appearance. If he hadn't been mad by anger, he would not have become like this." The little girl who came to the 6th universe, bad luck for the guy. But Hit didn't flinch, aimed at Gilliel, and stretched out his knife. While everyone was discussing, Gillier had returned to Hit from the edge of the stands. The moment just now made him embarrass himself in front of everyone. This time, Gillier was really angry. This time, Hit didn't use the flash time skill, he just aimed at Gilliel's body, and hit his hand knife. This is a completely head-to-head style of play, but Hit believes that there is nothing in this world that is harder than his own knife. Even Chi Yu's body is not good, it will definitely be completely annihilated under his own attack. Gillier's muscles swelled suddenly, and his hairs stood up one by one, and he turned into a huge monster more than 2 meters tall in a blink of an eye. The berserk energy continued to radiate from him, blowing so many low-strength spectators that they couldn't even open their eyes. Goku said, "Ouch, I didn't expect Hit to become so powerful, I really want to fight against him once." Gillier clasped his hands and said, "You are the strongest warrior of the 6th universe. Little guy, I am Gods of Destruction, but I am sorry to make the first move, otherwise people will say that I am a bully. I said I would attack you with just 100 times the strength." In other words, Gilliel's practice time is hundreds of millions of times that of Hit. There is no such thing as aging in Gods of Destruction. As you can imagine, this is definitely an unfair battle. Advertisement. Hit shook off the blood on his hand, then raised his hand at Chi Yu, which meant obviously, you will be the next one. Beerus slapped Son Goku on the head and said, "Idiot, you should pray that you meet the weakest enemy." Years of experience saved Gillier's life at a critical moment, and he quickly raised his hands to protect his chest. A loud noise came from the stands, and Gillier's body retreated violently, and it was not until the edge of the ring that the terrible impact was released. Hit was born as a killer, but he doesn't know how to push people. Hit's hand knife pierced Gillier's huge arm, and then moved forward, piercing through Gilliel's body. Blood fell from Hit's palm, forming a small puddle on the ground. "What are you talking about? I'm the perfect Gods of Destruction Gilliel." After the transformation, Gilliel was extremely powerful, but Hit was unmoved, and he still put on a posture and said, "Are you ready? Next, I will attack you with just 100 times the strength. Damn mortal, I will kill you. As for the Gods of Destruction in front of us, that's just an appetizer." The first Supreme Kai said. What a terrible breath, is this the power of Ji Lear? It seems that we still underestimated him before. After finishing speaking, Jillier spit out a big mouthful of blood with a wow, and fell to the ground motionless. Advertisement. Although he has never fought against each other, Champa also knows that Jillier's combat power definitely belongs to the first echelon in Gods of Destruction. Sometimes time is the most powerful weapon, fortunately you are several universe epochs older than Hit. Seeing the pitch-black abyss, Jillier couldn't help swallowing his saliva, and at the same time, a drop of blood slipped from his arm. Was that just a probing attack? Or was this mortal joking with himself? Hit's earth-shattering blow shocked everyone, and everyone immediately started talking. This man is dangerous, very dangerous. Really? Really 100 times, 100 times. This time the impact was 100 times stronger than before, the entire 5.0 arena shook under the impact of the two, and after the explosion smoke passed, everyone saw a scene that was almost suffocating. Jillier roared, then rushed towards Hit suddenly. As soon as his body moved, a violent energy flow was set off, rushing towards Hit like a missile. Gilliel looked at Hit, and saw that his expression was serious and silent, and he didn't mean to be joking at all. Beerus said, "It's a terrible skill." At that moment just now, Hyder's all power was gathered at the 10 points of the fingertips. That's why this blow can create such a terrible effect. Grand Priest raised his hand and said, "The winner is Heat from the 6th universe." Advertisement. Chapter 164 The Unlucky Frieza, 3 more, please subscribe. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. After Hit returned to the chief election, Champa said excitedly, "I didn't expect you to beat Gods of Destruction Gilil. Hit, you are really great. You are worthy of being the one who will succeed me as the next Gods of Destruction." Bados with a poisonous tongue said, "Master Champa, please don't put money on your face, okay?" Hit didn't speak, still staring at the stand where Chi Yu was, and the next game started at this time. Frieza is next to play, and his opponent is someone from the first universe. Grand Priest said. Because Camus himself didn't show up, Ivan, the first Gods of Destruction, helped him to draw the lottery. Unfortunately, Camus won the blue ball. Camus couldn't play, so I invited him. His companion Simba fought in his place. Chi Yu secretly wiped off his sweat. This game can still be called substitute play. Doesn't Grand Priest know what sportsmanship is? Unexpectedly, the rules are obviously unreasonable, but there is no objection. Hearing this news, the atmosphere on the field was immediately detonated, and everyone cheered for Frieza 22. Come on, Frieza, kill your enemies, Camus will be eliminated. As long as you can win, Camus will not be able to compete. Advertisement. Camus is the #1 powerhouse in the universe, and because of this, everyone is so excited. It turns out that this player is playing instead of Camus, so as long as this person is eliminated, it is equivalent to eliminating Camus. Beerus and the others had big mouths, their jaws almost fell to the ground, they were all stunned and speechless, sweating profusely. Not only Beerus, even Chi Yu's eyes Shendu changed slightly. He looked at the child kneeling on the ground, with a slight fighting spirit in his eyes, but then he shook his head and said, "It's still a little weaker." The first universe and the 613 12th universe are absolute enemies. If the first universe wins, then the 12th universe will definitely not exist. Frieza stretched out his paw, and laughed at Simba. "I, the Emperor of the universe, Frieza, will not hold back your hands just because you are a child. Let me eliminate you and that Camus in advance." Oh ho ho. Kay shook his head and said, "I don't know, but if we really fight, it's probably 50-50. Chi Yu said. Frieza actually has a new trick. Chi Yu nodded slightly, and then stopped talking. Grand Priest said. The winner was Simba, who won the game instead of Camus, so Camus officially advanced. After that, Simba kicked Frieza to pieces. Poor Frieza, who was just resurrected in the first battle, was killed by a child. If the kid can go 50-50 with K, then Frieza has absolutely no chance of winning. Sure enough, the next moment Simba stood up and grabbed Frieza's leg. It was the first time in Frieza's life that so many people spontaneously cheered for him. Such an atmosphere made the evil Emperor of Universe feel a little uncomfortable. He spit out and looked at his enemy. Advertisement. One punch hit Frieza in the stomach. Beerus and others didn't know who Chi Yu was talking about, and they all thought he was talking about Frieza. For a while, Chi Yu became more interested in this enemy who had never faced him before. If it wasn't for Camus' power to make everyone despair, how could these people at the scene behave like this? Without hesitation, Frieza rushed towards Simba, and then swept Simba's head with one leg. However, this determined kick was blocked. When they saw Simba's movements, those who were still cheering were like ducks whose throats were choked, and they could no longer make a sound. Jin snorted coldly and said, "A group of idiots, if Camus could be eliminated in this way, did they think Ivan is a fool?" Simba knelt on the ground with his eyes closed, as if he didn't see Frieza's provocation. At this time, the battle between Simba and Frieza is about to begin. After such a long period of training, Frieza's combat effectiveness has long since changed from what it used to be. Brilliant flames erupted from his whole body, and a set of crystal-clear armor covered the surface of his body like this, forming an indestructible barrier. Beerus nodded and said, "This is Frieza's strongest form, Diamond Frieza, which is countless times stronger than his past. Because Simba only uses one finger. That's Frieza, the genius Frieza who can rival Goku after practicing for a month." Relying on the desire for Zeno's power, Frieza's cultivation over the years has not fallen at all, and the degree of desperation is second only to Vegeta. Ivan, the supreme gods of destruction, never fights uncertain battles, and he sent this child to replace Camus, which shows that Shin is indeed qualified to replace Camus. Advertisement. Chi Yu said to K beside him. "Who is stronger between you and him?" Under the shining light, this set of armor is dazzling and looks extremely gorgeous. Unexpectedly, Simba, who replaced Camus, was only a 14 or 15-year-old child, which made everyone even more excited, except for Jin. As Ivan's old opponent, he knows Ivan's character too well. Feeling the powerful breath of Frieza, the cheers of the audience became more intense. The diamond-like armor instantly cracked, Frieza spit out a mouthful of green blood, and then softened. "You people in the 7th universe are really evil people. You are still making salutes, but you actually attacked me. It's really ugly. But such a guy was actually blocked by someone with one finger, how could other people accept it?" Beerus still couldn't accept it. "This is really outrageous." At this time, the priest Yin announced the beginning of the BU. At this moment, Ivan said, "Simba is an unprecedented genius warrior in our universe, and also the next generation of Camus. You actually treat him as a weakling, it's really ridiculous. In each era, the first universe will select one of the most powerful warriors as Camus' successor. The fact that this boy can obtain this qualification at this age shows that his talent is indeed extraordinary." Seeing that such a strong man appeared in the first universe, Jin couldn't help but gritted his teeth. Advertisement. Chapter 165 Chi Yu's Ultra Instinct Brawly. For more, please subscribe. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Only now did everyone understand how terrifying the Quan Selection Conference was. Here it can be said that the strong are like clouds, hidden dragons and crouching tigers. Randomly jump out of an unknown person, it may be a desperately powerful warrior. Frieza was killed just like that. If someone told Beerus and others like this before the game, no one would believe it. But now, such a thing is happening before everyone's eyes. With the warriors appearing on the stage one by one, the skirmish soon came to an end, and there were countless people who left a deep impression. After losing Frieza, Beerus is obviously not in a good mood. After all, the Emperor of the Universe is everyone's precious combat power. At this time, Grand Priest announced again, "The match will start in 2 hours. Please take a break. Now I will announce the list of groups. In the first group, players Chi Yu will play against Brawly, and the second group will be played against Brawly. Group." Hearing the arrangement of the first group, Beerus' face turned green all of a sudden. Both Chi Yu and Brawly are members of the 7th universe. I didn't expect that they were destined to be eliminated from the very beginning. This made Beerus very angry, but the lottery was random, and he had no right to change it. After hearing the news, Brawly was very excited. Circles of white fluff grew out of his body, and Brawly in the Super Saiyan 5 state vented his terrifying arrogance in all directions, causing bursts of exclamation. Brawly laughed loudly and said, "Chi Yu, you who stay at home all day and never practice, how could you defeat me, Uncle Brawly? Now I am not the same as before." Advertisement. At this time, the game has officially started. Ultra Instinct. It turned out to be Ultra Instinct. Liao Jiao, even the moves that Shendu can't fully master. This Brawly is really too powerful. I'm afraid even gods of destruction like Jilul can't stop him. Hit it. Champa next to him didn't understand, so he said, "What are you talking about? Why can't I understand? Just wash your neck and wait for me." Not only that, compared to last time, Brawly's energy is also much stronger, probably approaching the limit of Super Saiyan 5. Over the years, Brawly has successfully combined the Super 5 powerful Chi with the supreme realm of the gods, and has become a very terrifying powerhouse. Hit said coldly, "No matter how strong he becomes, I must be the one who defeats Lord Chi in the end." Chi Yu put on a very common defensive posture, and there was no breath or flame on his body. For a while, most people were disappointed. Jiren broke out. "Did you may notice Chi Yu's steps and movements when he jumped onto the ring?" Chi Yu didn't speak anymore, but there was already a trace of murderous intent in those cold eyes. Beerus sighed. Once in this state, the bald devil will never listen to anyone's advice. Seeing Chi Yu getting angry because of him, Kei's heart felt sweet, and he lowered his head shyly. Yes, today's Chi Yu is a Chi Yu trained by a martial artist, a real warrior. Advertisement. For such a long time, Chi Yu and Kay have also been in love. Seeing Brawley's rude words, Chi Yu felt a little unhappy. Brawley is a completely brainless warrior who fights by instinct. For such a guy, it is easier to master the move of Ultra Instinct, because Ultra Instinct is originally a move to develop the body's instincts. Quote. This is the champion of the tournament of power. It's too much. Brawley, you'd better keep your mouth clean, or I'll kill you in the ring. In the past, Chi Yu has never used skills, because no matter how powerful the enemy is, he can't stop his casual blow. It even included Jirenpo and Hit. Because they were defeated, Hit and Jirenpo paid so much attention to Chi Yu. It's not what it looks like, it's what I see at all. Champa asked in astonishment, what action? Just when everyone was already shocked by this terrifying aura, Brawley roared again. Suddenly, a silver beam of light rose from the ground, illuminating the entire realm of nothingness. How about Chi Yu? This is the form I trained to defeat you. It's very powerful. Among them, the most concerned of course are Jirenpo and Hit, the two defeated opponents. The stands of the 6th universe and the stands of the 11th universe were just opposite each other. Jiren took a quick look at Hit, then appeared beside Hit and said, did you feel it? Advertisement. Seeing Chi Yu play, many people cheered up. After all, Chi Yu is still the champion of the power tournament, and most of the universes recognize him. Hit explained. That's the fighting steps and movements of a martial artist. I don't know where Chi Yu got it from Shelly, but it's very clever. Hit nodded and said, it's unbelievable that this guy would do such a thing. 2 hours rushed by, and soon it was the turn of the first group of players to play. Chi Yu appeared on the field in a flash, then ticked his finger at Brawley and said, don't you want revenge? Come down and try. Everyone was talking about it, but as a person who was once killed by Chi Yu with a single punch, Brawley dared not underestimate him because of this. Brawley let out bursts of roars, and then erupted with terrifying arrogance all over his body. Everyone in the audience didn't notice it, but they noticed Chi Yu's abnormality. This guy is practicing. Kay snorted coldly and said, revenge on the master. It's up to you. He looked at Chi Yu beside him and said, I never thought that the opportunity for revenge would come so soon. That is, how do you look like a common man? Brawley said angrily. Woman, what are you talking about? Believe it or not, I will kill you right now. Jiren broke out. How is it? Are you sure you can defeat him? Advertisement. Chapter 166 Instant Kill. 5 updates, please subscribe. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Chi Yu let out a sneer, and then said, strong. Sorry, I didn't see it. Hearing Chi Yu's sarcasm, Brawley became angrier and directly attacked Chi Yu. Every punch of his has a destructive momentum, entangled with Chi Yu's hands. The two fought back and forth for a long time, before Champa sighed. As expected of the champion of the power tournament, facing such a strong man, Chi Yu still has the upper hand, it's amazing. Hit said. Have the upper hand. Stop joking. Champa was stunned. Why do you say that? Hit took a quick look at Jiren, and the two of them burst out laughing in unspoken agreement. Champa said angrily. What are you two laughing at? Tell me all. At this moment, Chi Yu and Brawley punched each other, and separated from each other. This is probably the most exciting battle since the start of the match. Everyone in the audience couldn't help cheering for them. Brawley raised his fist and said, 2 years ago, you could beat me to death with one punch, but now I can fight you normally. Chi Yu, your era has passed. Are you an idiot? At this moment, Jirenpo on the stage couldn't help but make a sarcastic sound. Brawley looked at Jiren and said, who are you? How dare you laugh at me, Master Brawley? Advertisement. Jiren broke out. Chi Yu is just using you to train his fighting skills. He doesn't even use his breath. In order to prevent you from being punched to death, he doesn't try his best every time he makes a shot, can't you see it? Jirenpo is the top martial artist, and he is very familiar with the attacking methods of warriors. Seeing Chi Yu's forceful movement, he knew something was wrong. In fact, not only him, but also the few powerhouses present have seen through this secret. Jin also said, Brawley, besides strength, an outstanding warrior must also have brains. People who can't even recognize themselves accurately are not considered strong at all. Brawley roared. What nonsense are you talking about? I'm already going to beat Chi Yu. I'm already going to beat Chi Yu. He turned his head to look at Chi Yu. A cold sweat flowed from his forehead to his chin, and then fell to the ground. Yes, after fighting for so long, Chi Yu didn't even sweat on his face. Obviously Chi Yu didn't give his best. Beerus shook his head and said, it's still not good, a big bald devil who knows martial arts skills, just thinking about it makes me feel terrible. Vegeta also said, that's right, Brawley never had a chance from the beginning. Broly, like a mad trapped beast, launched an attack on Chi Pressure again. This time, Chi Yu was still fighting him with the same strength and speed, but something was different. Broly, I have seen through your actions. After saying that, Chi Yu pushed away Broly's fist, and then kicked him in the stomach. Broly flew back and retreated, but Chi Yu followed him like a shadow, hitting Broly with his fists like a storm. Advertisement. Broly tried his best, but couldn't block, couldn't dodge. His body began to deform, and his bones began to snap, but Chi Yu didn't show any intention of stopping. Punch after punch, punch after punch, obviously of the same strength, but Chi Yu has incomparably precise techniques, so that he can only be beaten passively. Suddenly, Chi Yu stopped. Broly hung his hands with two completely shattered bones, covered in blood, and let out a desperate roar. Impossible, impossible, why? Why can't I, CCCA, hit you? Broly, you are worthless to me. Immediately afterwards, Chi Yu raised his fist. This time Chi Yu didn't use his strength, but he really used his physical strength. Chi Yu, one day, I will kill you every 10 days, and I, Broly, will definitely kill you. Just when Broly was hoarse, Chi Yu's fist landed on his body, and in an instant, that terrifying power completely exploded in the ring. The arena made of imitation star stones cracked inch by inch, the stone slabs and dust rolled up, and Broly's body turned into a cloud of blood mist in an instant, floating in the air. There are only 2 legs left, and they are still standing upright on the ring. Grand Priest in the Sky said, Chi Yu player, it seems that you have become a lot stronger again. Chi Yu said, it's a pity that I don't have the chance to fight with you, but I've always wanted to try. Grand Priest said, there will be a chance, now I declare, Chi Yu contestant the victory. Advertisement. After finishing speaking, Chi Yu stepped off the ring. Knowing this, the entire auditorium was still dead silent. Chi Yu's last punch just now was too terrifying, it completely shocked everyone. After a long time, Hit took a long breath and said, who said Chi Yu can't practice? Immediately, the fighting spirit in both he and Jiren's eyes was blazing. Yes, only Chi Yu like this has the real value to win. In the stands on the other side, 2 people were also discussing similar topics. They were Ivan and Simba from the first universe. Ivan said, if you meet him, what are your chances of winning? Simba shook his head and said, up to 3 layers, and judging from the strength he displayed. I always feel that he hasn't really tried his best. Ivan nodded and said, it seems that our information is correct. It is said that this guy is a strong man who is qualified to fight Camus. Although I think it is a bit exaggerated, he is indeed very strong. Simba's eyes narrowed and he said, he is so strong, I will surpass him. Become stronger. Ivan looked at Simba with undisguised appreciation in his eyes. Simba is like this, always aiming at how to break through himself, and will never be discouraged because of the strength of the enemy. Because of this, he is the most talented warrior in the entire first universe so far. If this child inherits Camus power, he will definitely surpass everyone in the future and reach a height that no one has reached. Advertisement. Chapter 167 The Strongest Gods of Destruction. Gold. 1 update, please subscribe. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Chi Yu returned to his position from the ring, and it wasn't until then that most of the audience came to their senses and began to discuss. Son Goku said to Chi Yu, unexpectedly, the bald-headed devil can also use skills. It's amazing. Vegeta didn't speak, but it could be seen that after seeing Chi Yu's strength, he seemed a little nervous. Chi Yu has learned fighting skills, it is like a tiger with wings, and now many people are like Vegeta, silently hoping that they will not face this monster. The second match begins, please come on stage. The second to enter the ring is Dispo, and his enemy is a gods of destruction, but not the gods of destruction of common. He has a shark face and a thin physique. He is the ultimate gods of destruction gold of the 12th universe. Dispo clasped his hands and said, you are the ultimate gods of destruction. It seems that the gods of destruction of your 4 universes is nothing special. Just now, Hit defeated the 5th gods of destruction Gilul with a near-crushing advantage, and Dispo's confidence also greatly increased for a while. Most of the 4 universes have existed for a long time, so powerful warriors are more likely to appear, but this does not mean that they are invincible. Over the years, Dispo's practice strength is no weaker than Jiren Poe's. Although not as powerful as Jiren Poe's talent, Dispo is also a rare genius in the world warrior. At this moment, Jin raised a finger at Dispo and said, one hit, and I'll send you back to your hometown. Hearing Jin's words, the arena started to make noise. Vegeta snorted coldly. This guy is really too arrogant, he is just a gods of destruction, how dare he say such big words. Advertisement. After so many years of practice, Vegeta actually has the confidence to say this, but Beerus on the side is a little unhappy. He glanced at Vegeta from the corner of his eye, and then said, What is it called? Just a gods of destruction. Vegeta, do you want to practice with me? In the room of time and spirit, Vegeta has fought against Beerus countless times. No matter which time, Vegeta ended in a disastrous defeat. Hearing Beerus' words, Vegeta couldn't help breaking out in a cold sweat, and then said awkwardly, Where, Lord Beerus, you know that's not what I meant. Beerus looked at the ring again and said, Don't worry, this Dispo has absolutely no chance of winning. At this time, the battle has already begun. Dispo's body blurred for a while, and then countless afterimages of Dispo appeared on the field, and his voice came from all directions. This is the haste that I have mastered after 2 years of training. How about gods of destruction? Can your eyes keep up with my speed? Dispo's speed shocked many people, and even Beerus, who had just said that Dispo could not win, changed his face. This speed is indeed too fast. On the ring, Dispo kept moving at a high speed, and the whole person seemed to disappear. The sky is full of his shadows, but every one of them is an afterimage, not the deity. In the past, Dispo was also good at speed, but it couldn't control it very well. It could only move in a straight line and could not turn. But now, Dispo has completely controlled his own power and can retract it freely. Vegeta said, Master Beerus, it seems that your judgment is wrong. Beerus looked at the ring coldly and didn't speak. But Vermut on the side affirmed Beerus' point of view, saying, Beerus is right, it is impossible for Dispo to win. Advertisement. Vegeta said. Why? Vermut said. Do you know who is the strongest warrior in the 12th universe? Vegeta looked at the beautiful woman in black behind Chi Yu, and said, Isn't it K? K said. Yes, that's without counting gods of destruction. Vegeta was shocked and said, You mean this gods of destruction is stronger than you? Asking for flowers. K shook his head and said, Master Jin gave me all the fighting skills. In terms of strength, we are exactly the same. In terms of skills, we are also exactly the same. Lord Jin is the same as me, and we are all tied in the universe. The third warrior. Tied for third is also third. As a gods of destruction, Jin's strength is a bit too exaggerated. Just when Vegeta was stunned, Beerus announced another piece of news. I only found out afterwards that the Hall had such a title in the older generation of gods of destruction. Vegeta said. What is it? Asterisk 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 asterisk. Advertisement. The strongest gods of destruction. As soon as Beerus finished speaking, Jin stretched out a finger, and then pierced the air in front of him with lightning speed. A flower of blood suddenly splashed in the empty air, and Dispo, who was still moving at high speed, suddenly appeared. He lowered his head in disbelief, only to see that Jin's finger had pierced his chest. You think you're fast? Dispo opened his mouth and looked at Jin in front of him. As the person involved, he knew very well that just Jin was faster, so fast that he could hardly see it at all. It wasn't until Dispo felt the pain that he realized that he had been hit. A contemptuous smile appeared on the corner of Jin's mouth and said, If your speed can be called fast, then you would be underestimating the warrior of the whole universe. This world is so big, and the strong people in it are beyond your imagination. Go back, work hard and come back. After all, the finger stabbing Dispo's chest suddenly emitted a beam of light, and Dispo's body was rushed out of the ring by ki blast. Dispo. Vermut yelled, but Jin waved his hands and said, Don't worry, I didn't kill him, for Chi Yu's sake. After all, Jin patted his clothes and walked off the ring. Earth. Advertisement. Chapter 168 Beerus refuses to accept. 2 more, please subscribe. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. I declare that the winners of the second group are gold players. In fact, there is no suspense about Kim's victory. When this guy stepped down, most people who knew the inside story took it for granted. In any case, Jin is the strongest gods of destruction, tied with K for the third warrior in the universe. At this point, Chi Yu finally understood why Baijin gave K to himself. The reason is very simple, he has long judged that the Xeno Selection Conference will be a personal battle. As a warrior, K can be said to be a copy of Jin, and everything about her is taught by Jin. K of the Jinwei will also, and Jinwei of the Kaihui will, there is no slight difference between the two in terms of strength or fighting style. If he can't win the Xeno Selection meeting, then Ka can't win. 640. Don't look at how easy it was when hit one Jillal, for ordinary warriors, it's a matter of reason. Can't hit his body while he's sleeping. It sounds a bit unreal. Advertisement. Just when the beam was about to hit Beerus, his figure suddenly disappeared, and then appeared in front of Eric and said, Eric, as I said, your time is over. Chi Yu in the stands couldn't help but nodded and said, Beerus is really amazing for cultivating Ultra Instinct to this kind of back-to-nature state. This time even Chi Yu was a little surprised. Maintain Ultra Instinct all the time. Yes, at this time Beerus is using Ultra Instinct. Beerus ignored everyone's ridicule, and stared blankly at his enemy with a pair of purple-black eyes. Seeing Beerus's speed so fast, Eric was startled, and then attacked Beerus. There is no flame on Beerus' body, nor is there a powerful aura surrounding him, but no matter how Eric hits, he just can't touch a single hair of Beerus. Beerus said. Then you wait for me. No matter how powerful Eric is, it is second only to Jin. This Beerus is simply too self-sufficient. That's why Jin asked Beerus to join the 12th universe when he met Beerus for the first time, and promised to make Beerus his adjutant. According to Jin's character of only respecting the strong, it is absolutely impossible to be so polite to a talentless gods of destruction. If someone asks who is the strongest warrior in the 12th universe, everyone will definitely say K. Because under normal circumstances, destroying Shendu's role as a leader is not counted. So when someone asks who is the most talented warrior in the 7th universe, everyone will instinctively ignore Beerus. After such a long practice, the Beerus at this moment is completely different from the past. Advertisement. Eric put his hands behind his back and said, Beerus, what gave you the courage to speak to me like this? After speaking, Beerus left the ring. After Jin stepped down, the battles seemed unremarkable. Even if there were enemies worthy of attention, the battles were completely one-sided. Until the 11th match, Beerus stepped into the ring, and the most coincidental thing was that his opponent was also Gods of Destruction, and it was Gods of Destruction Eric who was much more experienced than him. Jin looked down at Beerus on the ring and said, if you can successfully walk in front of me, then I will use my strength to tell you the answer. I think he saw Jin's strength, and he was scared out of his mind. Vegeta nodded and said, for Beerus now, Ultra Instinct has become an instinct. I tried to attack him while he was sleeping, but I couldn't hit his body. No way. The relationship between the 12th universe and the 1st universe is too bad, so Jin can only bet on someone who can defeat Camus, and the most likely one is Chi Yu. Eric snorted coldly and said, then I'll try to see if your strength is as powerful as your mouth. Vegeta also said, Beerus has maintained the state of Ultra Instinct all these years to reach this state. At this moment, Beerus shifted his gaze to Jin in the stands, and said, this time I want to try, who is the strongest Gods of Destruction? But in fact, excluding Chi Yu, Beerus is indeed the most talented warrior in the 7th universe. Don't forget, this guy has been sleeping almost his whole life. Advertisement. After saying that, Eric suddenly stretched out a finger and released a destructive ki blast at Beerus. This ki blast is different from Common's ki blast. It has powerful destructive energy and violent rotation, which looks a lot like Piccolo's magic light wave. Seeing his opponent, Beerus snorted coldly, imitating Jin's way and raised a finger. Jin only needs one move, and I only need one move. Just then, Beerus attacked, and as he had promised, he only used one move. Just when Eric suddenly attacked Beerus, Beerus gave birth to a leg, and then suddenly lifted it on Eric's abdomen. His provocation caused an uproar again, and many people began to sarcasm. Who does he think he is? A last-born Gods of Destruction who claims to be able to defeat Eric with just one move. Beerus said. Eric, your time is over. Eric is one of the 3 Gods of Destruction second only to Jin, and its strength is no less than that of Gilil and Ivan. If a normal Gods of Destruction confronted him, it would be an act of courting death. Seeing this result, the audience who were clamoring just now silently closed their mouths without saying a word. The strength shown by Beerus is indeed too strong. With Eric's strength, it is impossible to test the depth of Beerus. In this case, it is better to give K to Chi Yu as an insurance. If Chi Yu wins, then by virtue of the good relationship with Chi Yu, the 12th universe must also be spared from being killed, and maybe Chi Yu can still be taken care of by Chi Yu after he becomes Xeno. Eric immediately turned into a cannonball, flew out, and fell towards the void. But the essence of Ultra Instinct is to let every cell of the body think for itself, so it is not surprising that the body can automatically dodge even when sleeping. Advertisement. Chapter 169 Gohan vs Chi Yu. 3 more, please subscribe. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Beerus' arrogance deeply shocked everyone, and soon, the first round of competition was over. Compared with the Power Tournament, this game can truly be called a cloud of strong players, and many of them have left a deep impression on everyone. For example, the super robot created by Paparoni in the 3rd universe, such as the top warrior from the 4 universes, and the Gods of Destruction in each universe have also emerged many masters. At this time, Grand Priest announced, this is the end of today's game. Considering that some warriors have already played 2 games, there are physical and injury problems. So the next round of the game will be a week later, when Master Xeno will be there in person and announce something to everyone. Hope everyone will be on time. The next round will be the more brutal top 32. After a round of screening, all those who remain are truly elite soldiers. In such a cruel competition, Even if 22 only defeated one enemy, that would be a very remarkable thing. It is worth mentioning that only 2 people were eliminated from the entire 7th universe, except for the unlucky Frieza and Brawly, all others appeared. Because of this, the 7th universe has received unprecedented attention from everyone. This universe, who was born the latest, unexpectedly had 8 people advance at the same time, which can be said to be the biggest group of dark horses in this competition. Looking at the back of Chi Yu and others leaving, Ivan couldn't help sighing. Even without K's joining, this universe is one of the top universes. I can't imagine that in just 2 years, the 7th there are so many powerful warriors in the universe. Simba nodded and said, "That's right, especially the one named Chi Yu." Ivan said, "We have known Chi Yu's strength for a long time, and I am more concerned about the situation of other people. Among them, Beerus is also a real strong man, and there is another inconspicuous one besides that." Advertisement. Simba was a little surprised and said, "Master Ivan, who are you talking about?" Ivan said, "That's Son Gohan. Simba's strength is very strong, but in his turn, he is definitely not as good as Ivan who existed at the beginning of the world." He carefully looked at Son Gohan's eyes, and then he was surprised. Is this person so powerful? He looks very common. Ivan shook his head and said, "This man named Son Gohan should be the most powerful warrior in the 7th universe besides Chi Yu. He chose a completely different path and gained his own power. It's really impressive. Marvel." Simba said, "This Son Gohan has such a talent, why haven't I heard of it before?" Ivan shook his head again and said, "It's not talent that gives him strength, but courage." Simba was confused by Ivan's words. At this time, he turned his head to look, but suddenly found that Jin was also looking at Son Gohan. Immediately, Simba became alert. If Jin also felt the same way as Ivan, then it was definitely not Ivan's mistake, there could be no such coincidence in the world. For a while, Simba's heart began to burn with a raging fighting spirit. "Let's go. There is still some time before the second round, we can't waste it." After all, the first universe also disappeared in the venue. Advertisement. After returning to the 7th universe, everyone discussed to enter the room of time and spirit, and this time Chi Yu also participated for the first time. You must know that in the past, this guy would never be interested in this kind of exercise. For him, fooling around with Taisi and others is his hobby. But even Chi Yu went crazy and wanted to be strong. Of course, Beerus, who is gods of destruction, was very happy and would definitely not refuse Chi Yu's request. When you open the room of time and spirit, what you see is a completely chaotic world of nothingness. Chi Yu was surprised. "You actually moved the world of nothingness here." Whis introduced. "Our angel is best at manipulating time and space, so I cut off a large piece of the void world, and then moved it into the room of time and spirit. This void world and the whole world are completely connected, and I practice here, you can fully use your power to your heart's content without worrying about causing damage. In the corner of the entrance, there are still simple mattresses and daily necessities. It is really hard to imagine that this group of guys have stayed in such an environment for decades. Only in this way can this group of people advance by leaps and bounds." Thinking of this, Chi Yu was also a little motivated, so he said, "I want to study the fighting skills carefully, can any of you be my training partner?" Being Chi Yu's sparring partner is life-threatening, and generally speaking, no one would accept such a request. But this time was different, everyone including Beerus turned their attention to the same direction, where Son Gohan was standing in a daze. Son Gohan. Why this guy? Advertisement. Just when Chi Yu was surprised, Beerus said, "Even if you only use destructive energy, I don't want to fight you. The only person who can fight you here is Gohan." 787. Chi Yu was surprised. "Gohan is so powerful." Son Goku said, "Don't underestimate Gohan, now he is the best among us." In fact, Saitama felt that there was something wrong with Gohan before, but he couldn't tell where this sense of discord came from. Since everyone said so, then Gohan's strength must have nothing to run away. So Chi Yu turned his attention to Gohan and said, "Play a game with me." Gohan was a little embarrassed and said, "I'm definitely not Chi Yu uncle's opponent." Beerus said, "Chi Yu is just to learn fighting skills, let him not use his own chi, just use his body or destroy energy to fight. Don't worry Gohan, you can do B." Son Gohan said, "Then I'm not welcome." Everyone looked at Chi Yu, and just as Chi Yu nodded, he saw smiles of conspiratorial success appearing on the faces of several people. It seemed to say that the bald-headed Demon King was finally going to be deflated. Chi Yu twisted his neck, and gradually became interested. What has Son Gohan done all these years? Why does everyone have so much confidence in him? Advertisement. Chapter 170 Super Gohan. For more, please subscribe. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. The rule of this friendly match is that Chi Yu is not allowed to use the terrifying chi in his body, and only use the destructive energy to fight Son Gohan with his own body. In order to prevent accidents, Son Goku has prepared fairy beans in advance for emergencies. After talking, Son Gohan and Chi-Yu started to do warm-up exercises. Beerus and the others watched from the sidelines, waiting for the battle to begin. Vegeta already covered her mouth and couldn't help sblckm-ning. The big bald devil finally fell for it, and this time, I can finally see this dead bald man get beaten up. Beerus said. It's not clear, at least until now, Chi-Yu has never fought seriously. His bottom line is still a mystery to this day. Vegeta said. Even so, that is without using your own chi. What is really scary about Chi-Yu is that ridiculously strong chi. It is impossible to defeat the current Gohan in this state. Vegeta's words were approved by everyone, and everyone nodded at the same time. Advertisement. Yes, if you didn't have absolute confidence, how could everyone have worked so hard to facilitate this competition? At this time, Son Gohan finished warming up and said to Chi-Yu, Chi-Yu uncle, I'm ready. Chi-Yu said. You come first. Let me see your strength, so we can distinguish between the important and the important. Although Beerus and others have bad intentions, they are only limited to the level of jokes. Son Gohan called himself an uncle. If he really beat someone to death, he would not be able to explain to Taisi when he went home. So Chi-Yu asked Gohan to take the first shot, besides, he wanted to see Gohan's strength. Just then, Gohan clenched his hands and let out a loud roar, sparking his anger. Immediately, a terrifying aura that crossed the void rushed towards him, and Chi-Yu's expression changed slightly. There was no change in Gohan's form, but the strength of this aura was enough to surprise even Chi-Yu, far surpassing any enemy he had ever met. These include Super Omega Shenron, but also the Dark One Chi-Yu. Son Gohan said. I didn't learn Ultra Blue God and Ultra Instinct, I want to achieve the strongest form that no one has ever seen in my own way. Are you ready? Chi-Yu uncle, Generally speaking, the easiest way is to take the path that everyone walks. Super Saiyan 1 to Super Saiyan 2, and then to Ultra Blue God and Ultra Instinct. As long as he follows this step-by-step practice, Son Gohan will gain extraordinary strength sooner or later. On this road, there are the experiences of the gods and fathers, and everyone can give advice to Gohan and help him improve himself. But Son Gohan didn't do that and instead chose an unknown path. Advertisement. This is like a rich second generation who wants to kill a penny from his family, but insists on going out to start his own business. Although I don't know what Gohan thinks, but from his aura, I can tell that Gohan is the rich second generation who has successfully started a business. Chi-Yu stretched out his hands to block Gohan's fist that was as violent as an avalanche and a tsunami. After the two exchanged more than a dozen moves, Chi-Yu gradually lost the upper hand. As a last resort, he was able to dodge quickly and distance himself from Gohan. Looking back, Beerus and the others were already looking at Chi-Yu and laughing. I didn't expect you, the bald devil, your opponent for the first time was Gohan. The bald devil is finally about to be defeated. I have been waiting for this day for too long. Don't call me Tragedy Tower anymore, you dead bald head, you know how powerful you are. Chi-Yu didn't want to be familiar with these idiots, so he looked at Gohan and said, why did you keep the mysterious Gohan form until now? You know, this is a road that no one has ever traveled before. Gohan said. I want to be really strong, but this universe is too big, both Jirenpo and K are more talented than me. So I think, if I want to surpass you, I must be different from you. Chi-Yu nodded and expressed his appreciation to Gohan. Yes, there may be various risks on the unknown road, but you may also see scenery that others cannot see. Gohan, you have become a real strong man. The ones. Receiving Chi-Yu's compliment, Gohan couldn't help being overjoyed and giggled. After all, it is Chi-Yu who praises himself, he is one of the strongest in all universes. Advertisement. However, at this moment, Chi-Yu changed the subject and said, but if you can defeat me just like this, Gohan, you must have underestimated me. You are not the only one in this world who dares to try something that others have not tried. Thing. After all, Chi-Yu made a strange posture, he relaxed his fist, and then stretched out a pair of fleshy palms to his chest. Beerus was taken aback suddenly. What is this? Son Goku said. I don't know, maybe it's the new move of the Bald Demon King, but why does it look limp, with no strength at all? Vegeta snorted coldly. It must be a bluff. Most of the fighting methods in this world are based on strength and skill. Everyone is pursuing a strong chi and a stronger body, and few people will work hard on skills. Someone like Son Goku who has mastered many moves is already considered a master of martial arts, but Chi-Yu knows that the real martial arts is far from being just like that. In the past, he was born in a world without supernatural power. Because of this, ordinary warriors in that world paid more attention to the use of skills. Among them, his hometown, Asterisk is the place where this Tao reaches its pinnacle. Chi Yu has never studied martial arts, but he knows a lot of theories, such as 4 and 2 strokes, using softness to overcome strength. In the past 2 years, he has been exchanging ideas with K almost every day, and then experimenting with these theories. Finally, he has come up with a set of skills that do not belong to the power system of this world. Chi Yu said, "Come on Gohan, let me show you something you haven't seen before." Gohan watched Chi Yu cautiously for a long time, but he still stood there, motionless. Finally, Gohan lost his patience, and after a loud roar, he rushed towards the pressure. Advertisement. Chapter 171 The Strongest Opponent, Camus. 5 updates, please subscribe. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Gohan rushed towards Chi Yu, and with this blow, he poured all his breath into his fist. However, his ferocious blow was pulled away by Chi Yu's hand, and it was taken away from the original direction, completely missing it. Gohan's body suddenly lost its balance and tilted to the other side. Ruined. As a warrior, if you lose your balance, you will be beaten, which Gohan is still aware of. But Chi Yu didn't seize this opportunity to attack, but just stood behind Gohan, waiting for him to readjust his posture. Gohan rolled several times in a row before he stabilized his body. He looked at his hands, not understanding what happened just now. Why did his attack seem to hit cotton? Beerus tugged at his ears and said, "Goku-san. What are you doing? Why did such a soft attack almost knock you down?" Even number 17 couldn't help shouting. "That's right, Gohan, come on, this is our first chance to beat up the big bald devil king. You have to grab it." Everyone was yelling at Gohan, who immediately shook his head to keep himself awake. Immediately afterwards, he rushed towards Chi Yu again. Beerus nodded, and then Weiss opened the portal. So Beerus nodded and said, "Then let's all start practicing on our own." Advertisement. Chi Yu handed the fainted Gohan to Son Goku and said, "Of course not, it's just the use of skills. I don't plan to record with Ultra Instinct. I think people are animals of thought. Instead of letting the body think by itself, it is better to use the brain. It is true to completely dominate the body." Son Goku said, Is it magic?" Immediately afterwards, Chi Yu raised his right leg and slammed his knee hard on Gohan's chin. The chin is the place with the most nerves in the human body. Once it is hit hard, it will cause a concussion in an instant. Sure enough, after this blow, Gohan couldn't take it anymore and passed out directly. After all, Chi Yu repeated the same trick again and pushed away Gohan's attack. But this time, Chi Yu didn't hold back anymore. He yelled and punched Gohan in the stomach. Chi Yu only used physical strength for this blow, without the slightest breath, but it also knocked Gohan down. But Beerus knew that with their strength, they were destined to not go far. After all, the starting point of these two people was too low. By the end of 7 months, Gohan could only force Chi Yu to use 2 points of physical strength, which shocked Beerus and others. Speaking of Camus, Yin's heart became heavy again. Although they haven't fought each other yet, both sides have confirmed at this moment that each other is the strongest opponent in their lives. At this time, Chi Yu also packed up his things and said, "It's almost time, let's get ready to go." In the end, everyone has to admit that even in terms of talent, Chi Yu is on a completely different level from them. It must be everyone's nightmare to have an opponent who is 100 times stronger than himself and who has improved faster than himself. Advertisement. Because of Chi Yu's stimulation, everyone has made rapid progress during this period, especially number 17 and number 18, who have been practicing sister-brother sparring. Their strength is the weakest, so the room for growth is also the largest. Chi Yu didn't want to talk about it, and everyone didn't want to ask too much. Today is the last day of staying in the time and spirit room. Beerus changed his clothes, and then sighed. "I really feel sorry for Jirenpo and Hit. What kind of muscle did they make wrong, and they insisted on choosing Chi Yu to do it their goal? Can this monster really be defeated?" Danger. A feeling of extreme danger pervaded Chi Yu's heart. Chi Yu is ridiculously strong. This is something everyone has known for a long time, and Chi Yu will easily defeat Gohan, and everyone will not be surprised at all. The reason why there is such a reaction is because the battle is going on too strangely. Use the brain to completely dominate the body. This time, Beerus and others were completely stupid. At the very beginning, Son Gohan was able to drink Chi Yu, who had only half his body strength, to play 50-50, but this situation did not last for a few days. Afterwards Chi Yu was forced to lower his strength standard again and fight Gohan again. Chi Yu is not going to give these guys the philosophy of life with softness over toughness. Anyway, even if he said it, these wooden fish heads probably wouldn't understand it. So he changed the subject and said, "My attack was very light. Gohan was not injured. Let's start practicing. 1 week is equal to 7 months in the room of time and spirit." These 7 months are enough for us to renew one step further. A week later, the venue of the Xeno selection conference changed again, the ring was renovated and reinforced, and a very gorgeous stand was added. And Xeno himself sat on the throne in the stands, waiting for all the universes to arrive. But the more they fought each other, the more everyone was afraid of Chi-Yu's power. Advertisement. Not to mention the use of destructive energy, Chi-Yu CCBA probably defeated Gohan easily before his physical strength fully exploded. From the beginning to the end, Chi-Yu did not show strength beyond Gohan. Everyone can feel that Chi-Yu's strange skills are getting better and better. Not only that, in the constant battle, Chi-Yu is improving both physically and mentally. Of course, this is not something that people like me should care about. Goku said. If there is really anyone who can fight the current Chi-Yu, it must be that Camus. 7 months doesn't sound like a long time, but in the world of nothingness, life is extremely difficult. In order to pass the time and to exchange ideas, we often exchanged ideas on the way. He looks very common, like an Indian ascetic, wearing loose robes, and his whole body is skinny. An indistinct gold light dust is surrounding him, circling incessantly. At the same time, Camus also looked at Chi-Yu, suddenly shocked. Chi-Yu looked at the first universe. Sure enough, this time, there was one more person in their team. When meeting Chi-Yu for the first time, Jin said with certainty that Chi-Yu had no chance of winning in a fight with Camus. Now that Chi-Yu has improved so much, what will happen when he meets Camus and takes over? The first time he saw this person, Yu confirmed his identity. Chi-Yu said, Gohan, U-907 will not be able to achieve any practical effect if you ram like a bull like a bull. Don't say that I am so much stronger than you, even if I am weaker than you, I will not be defeated by such an attack. Advertisement. Chapter 172, Number 17 was instantly killed. One update, please subscribe. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. This time, instead of announcing the start of the game, the Grand Priest silently stepped aside. Xeno stood up from his chair and announced to everyone, I have decided to die, so this competition will choose my successor, please try your best to play interesting games. Xeno's eyes were innocent, and his tone was as relaxed as usual, not at all like he was talking about his own life and death. Perhaps for him, death is just a new toy, interesting because it is unknown. After Xeno sat down again, the match of the top 32 was officially announced. All the surviving players came to the stage to draw lots, and finally determined their opponents according to the numbers. If the same number is drawn, they will go on stage together in order. Unexpectedly, Chi-Yu got hit. When the Grand Priest announced the result, his whole body erupted with a strong fighting spirit. Even after a whole field, Chi-Yu could feel Hit's determination. Next, I invite player Camus from the first universe to come on stage, and against him is player number 17, from the 7th universe. Over the years, number 17 has also practiced with everyone. His strength can't be said to be the strongest, but he is definitely not weak, but no one is optimistic about him in this game. No way, the title of the strongest Camus in the world is really hurtful. Camus walked down from the stands. His steps were very slow. From the outside, this old man who seemed to be dying was indeed not a strong man. But as the saying goes, there are no worthless men under a great reputation, and no one will underestimate him because of this. Advertisement. Number 17 folded his arms and said, You are Camus. Young man, even if you insist on beating me, then I will not be polite. Unexpectedly, with a burst of breath, his enemy was vaporized. For Chi-Yu, this is extremely important information, and it may also be Camus' only flaw. In an instant, the earth-shattering aura set off a big explosion in the entire arena, and a ball of light continued to expand, directly engulfing the surrounding stands. Grand Priest stretched out his hands, and immediately formed a transparent barrier, surrounding the arena. No matter how powerful number 17 is, he probably wouldn't be able to survive such a force. Number 18 punched heavily on the guardrail of the stands, gnashing his teeth. Beerus comforted. Don't worry, the Dragon Ball will be used to revive all the people who died in the battle after this game, you don't have to worry about your brother. Seeing that Camus had not launched an attack, number 17 finally moved. Just when his legs were bent and he was about to exert force, an outrageous aura suddenly burst out centered on Camus. Chi-Yu looked at the old man in front of him with serious eyes, and affirmed, This old man is different from the enemies you have encountered before, I promise. Force. Sometimes, Chi-Yu herself also feels this way. Especially in recent years, as I continue to get stronger, this feeling is getting stronger and stronger. That's why Chi-Yu can be sure that the Camus in front of him is definitely not just a brag. Advertisement. What the hell did he do? Beerus also doubted. Maybe this old guy is not as strong as in Legendary. His existence is like a nail driven into the cosmology, no matter how he looks, he is a bit out of tune with this world, as if the whole world is rejecting him. P.S. Subscriptions have dropped a lot recently, many readers have abandoned books, and the author has no choice. I will speed up the end of the Dragon Ball plot. What do you want to see in the next world? You can talk about it in the book review area. Vegeta turned to look at Chi-Yu and said, why? Is this Camus really that powerful? This is the power of Camus, the number one powerhouse in the universe. The number 17 in the center of the ring was gone, and it was evaporated to nothingness in an instant, together with bones and flesh and blood. The entire arena created by the imitation star stone is riddled with holes, and many places have been melted and turned into flowing magma. Many people have already started praying, hoping that they will not encounter this monster on stage. Vegeta in the stand snorted coldly and said, what a shameless old guy, he actually wants to rely on his reputation to make people admit defeat, his idea is simple. Seeking flowers 0. Chi-Yu said. I haven't tried it, so I don't know, but if you only talk about breath, this Camus is indeed stronger than me. But obviously, he seems to be unable to control his own breath. Speaking, Beerus looked at Chi-Yu and said, how is it? Are you confident? He didn't use every single move, and he killed number 17 completely relying on his breath. Can you do such a thing? Advertisement. After all, Camus walked off the ring with everyone's shocked expressions. This battle ended the fastest so far, and as expected, Camus from the first universe was just too strong. Terrible impacts continued one after another, and cracks appeared on the barrier. Sometimes, people only need to rely on feelings to make judgments. Camus didn't do anything, but Chi-Yu felt something was wrong from the moment the old man appeared on the stage. Number 17 would not just admit defeat like this, he put on a posture and said, if you want to win, just rely on your strength to get it yourself. After the light was extinguished, Yinjia guessed clearly what was going on the field. How did this happen? At this moment, Chi-Yu suddenly said, you guys better let number 17 come down now. Why do young people nowadays not listen to advice so much? I actually don't want to kill people. Feeling such a terrifying power, No 17's eyes widened in disbelief, he even stopped moving, and directly froze on the ring. Just before the barrier was about to be shattered, the terrifying burst of energy gradually dissipated. Camus looked very humble, and his whole body was covered with a layer of peace, which reminded Lu Meng of the Buddha in the religion of his previous life. Camus said, young man, can you give me a face to get off the ring? I really don't want to fight with others. Camus, power comes from the inheritance of his ancestors. To put it bluntly, no matter how strong the aura is, it is still not his own. No matter how powerful he is, he always has flaws in terms of control. Advertisement. Chapter 173 Chi-Yu's Super Hit 2 more, please subscribe. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. The second battle is Gods of Destruction Quatella. In Gods of Destruction, Quatella's ability is not outstanding. But today's Quatella is different, his aura is like a big mountain, just standing there is enough to make people feel scared. Beerus frowned and said, it's strange, how did Quatella become so strong? Vegeta said, I'm afraid the reason is not complicated. After losing to Chi-Yu, I should have worked hard. The pain of failure is the best catalyst to stimulate potential, especially as the proud gods of destruction, Quatella. Quatella has been the laughingstock of all gods of destruction since the last time until today. As the supreme existence in the universe, he was actually beaten by a mortal at the door of his house, and slaughtered all the warriors in front of him. Whenever this is mentioned, Quatella. 210's heart is like 10,000 suns undergoing violent nuclear fusion. Quatella pointed to Chi-Yu in the stands and said, the bald devil, I don't expect to gain the power of Zeno in this group arena, but I will kill you myself. Chi-Yu said, sorry, you may not have this chance, because you can't walk in front of me at all. Quatella said angrily, what are you talking about? Quatella, I'm not what I used to be. Chi-Yu sighed and said, go. Let this wooden fish know what a real strong man is. Advertisement. Yes, Chi-Yu uncle. With that said, Gohan jumped onto the ring. Quatella has indeed become stronger, but in the entire 7th universe, no one is optimistic about him, because his opponent is Son Gohan. Not everyone in this world is Chi-Yu. If you want to defeat Gohan today, it is absolutely impossible for ordinary strong people to do it. Seeing the person coming, Quatella said, I remember your name is Son Gohan, I saw you at the power conference. Gohan was very humble, bent down and bowed, please give me your advice. Advise me a lot. No, that's not the case. I'm going to kill you. A sinister smile appeared on Quatella's face and said, you are the son of Chi-Yu's friend, right? Find some interest on you first. The pitch-black destructive energy churned on Quatella like a thick black cloud, and Quatella let out a roar, just like Sun Wuju launched an attack. This powerful attack didn't work, and in an instant, an even bigger aura appeared on Gohan's body. The radial air is centered on Gohan, like a typhoon, blowing the air of Quatella to pieces. Before this match, First Universe had been watching Son Gohan. After witnessing the power of the mysterious Gohan, Simba said, "Master Ivan, you are not mistaken, this Son Gohan is indeed a very terrifying powerhouse." Ivan nodded and said, "Quatella has already lost." On the field at this time, Quatella was already like a small boat with strong wind and waves, unable to even stand firm. He was oppressed by Son Gohan's air pressure and kept retreating towards the edge of the ring. Both of Quatella's feet sank into the ground, and he said with difficulty, "What is this? Why do people like this always appear in your 10th universe?" Advertisement. Gohan said, "Chi-Yu uncle said that this power is fate's reward for my courage. I don't understand what it means, but I think I should be able to win you." After all, Gohan suddenly appeared in front of Quatella and kicked at Quatella's body. The kind-hearted Gohan didn't want to hurt anyone, so this kick was very light, but for the struggling Quatella, this kick was the last straw that broke the camel's quilt. Quatella's body flew high, and then fell toward the abyss. Before he was about to be eliminated, he was still shouting loudly, "I won't let you go, you bastards of the 7th universe." Son Gohan, who won easily, was waiting for Grand Priest's verdict, but at this moment, a figure suddenly appeared on the ring. It was Hit, who had been waiting for a long time. He looked at Son Gohan and said, "Get out of the way." Hit was not at all interested in this kind of game without suspense. On stage, he kept shaking his legs, anxiously waiting for the end of the match between Gohan and Quatella, because it was his turn to play next, and his opponent was Chi-Yu. He has been waiting for this day for too long. For countless days and nights on the desert planet, he has been looking forward to the opportunity to fight Chi-Yu again. Grand Priest said, "Player Hit, I haven't declared Son Gohan's victory yet, why are you on stage? What's the difference? Son Gohan already won anyway. Call that damn bald head down." Hit didn't have any big faults, so Grand Priest didn't bother with him, and announced, "I'm going to invite contestant Chi-Yu to come on stage." Chi-Yu appeared in the ring with an instant transmission, and said to Hit, "It seems that you have become a lot stronger." Hit said, "I'm ready, I'm going to beat you in this arena today." Advertisement. Chi-Yu said, "Then come." After all, Chi-Yu opened his hands, the meaning is very clear. That's like saying, "Go ahead, you won't hurt a single hair of me anyway." Facing Chi-Yu's arrogance, the people in the stands all exclaimed, "What's the matter with this bald head? Does he want to repeat the mistakes of Gileel? Even the perfect destruction Shendu can't stop Hit's attack. This Hit player is definitely a rare strong player in this competition. Even if he is the champion of the power tournament, this bald head is too confident, right?" Everyone ridiculed Chi-Yu, only Champa and others from the 6th universe didn't think so. They know how terrifying Chi-Yu's strength is, and at the same time, they also understand what defeating Chi-Yu's defense means to Hit. 3.0. It was something as lofty as an ideal, the ultimate pursuit that Hit bet his life on. "Hit, come on, take out all your power crystals." Suddenly, Jiren's angry roar came from the stands. As partners with the same pursuit, the two had established a special friendship before they knew it. Hit closed his eyes, and then began to adjust his breath. He knew that he only had one chance. In the next blow, he had to unleash all his strength to cause damage to Chi-Yu's indestructible body. The speed at which Hit gathered his breath was very slow, but full of rhythm, and he was squeezing his last bit of potential step by step. Immediately afterwards, he assumed an attacking stance and pointed his knife at Chi-Yu. Advertisement. Chapter 174. Chi-Yu wins. One update, please subscribe. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. When everyone was taunting Chi-Yu, another voice suddenly appeared on the field. It was the sound of cheering at the top of his lungs. Those who make these voices are all from the same universe as Hit, our friends, our teachers. Suddenly, the mocking people were all stunned. "Come on Hit. Beat him Hit, don't admit defeat. Think about what you have practiced patiently all these years for." Simba said. "What's the matter with this group of people? The game hasn't started yet, why does everyone in the 6th universe seem to be sure to lose Hit? This Hit can instantly kill Gileel, the strength should be very strong fishy." Ivan shook his head and said, "Don't ask, just watch quietly, this is the struggle of a warrior." Without knowing why, Simba turned his gaze to the ring, where Hit was desperately gathering his energy. Like a stingy boss, he pulled out the last trace of strength from his body, and gathered it in the palm of his hand. Gradually, Hit's palm knife began to glow, and the dazzling light pierced people's eyes. Hit said, "This is the move that I have prepared for 2 years. Even a star rock as huge as a mountain will completely collapse under my blow. Chi-Yu, can your body withstand my attack?" Chi-Yu said, "You can try it." Hit took a deep breath, and then launched a flash attack. When the audience came back to their senses, Hit's palm was like a sharp blade, stabbing at Chi Yu's body suddenly. Advertisement. With a strong aura, the palm knife wiped out dazzling sparks on Chi Yu's body. The wild energy exploded suddenly like a landslide and tsunami. Immediately afterwards, the arena shattered, the whole thing shattered. The imitation star stone can withstand the gas generated when Camus erupts, but it cannot withstand the vibration generated by the collision between Chi Yu and Hit. Although it is only one blow, Hit did explode at that level of power at this moment. He pinned everything on this blow, but the hand knife still failed to penetrate Chi Yu's defense, just like that it was pushed against Chi Yu's chest. No, it's not enough, it needs to be stronger, it needs to be stronger. Such a voice echoed deep in Hit's soul, stimulating his nerves, as if bringing him back to that desert planet. He also saw the self who was beating the star stone uninterruptedly, and saw his fingers that had been fractured countless times due to overtraining. He saw the rising sun in the desert, and the blood-stained traces on the rock walls under the sun. I can't just fall down, he said to himself silently, if we get here, everything will be meaningless. Hit's blow was originally the most extreme move in the world. He combined his physical strength, energy, and will into one, striving to burst out with absolute strength in the shortest moment. Because all the power was exhausted, Hit's body was gradually weakening, and he was about to be exhausted. Even so, can I still not be able to create even a single scar on Chi Yu's body? No, I can't fall here again, never. Hit yelled up to the sky, and a round of more brilliance erupted immediately above the knife in his hand. Advertisement. Simba was shocked. He is burning his own life. Is it worth it? The person in front of him is obviously an opponent he cannot defeat. Until now, Hit's attack has not caused any damage to Chi Yu, even a fool can understand that Hit has no possibility of winning at all. In this case, Hit had to squeeze out his last ounce of strength, and even sacrificed his life. In an instant, this question appeared in the hearts of all the audience. Is it worth it? Ivan sighed. Hyder has already answered us with practical actions. For him, this matter is worthwhile. That's why I tell you that this is a warrior's struggle. Everyone in the world is different, some people are after power, some people are after money. But for Hit, what he pursued may be such a radiant moment. This battle won't bring anything for Hit, but he is willing to give everything for his pursuit. Hit, come on, beat him. Champa's voice was hoarse, and his eyes were full of tears, but he still shouted and wept. Beside him, Caulifla, Kale. Everyone from the 6th universe is the same as Champa. At this moment, Simba stood up. Hit, you are a real warrior, come on. Cheer Hit, W. Beat him Hit. Advertisement. Everyone who was watching was moved by Hit's persistence. They came from different universes and had no intersection with Hit himself. But at that moment, everyone was shouting for Hit. Hit's eyes and ears were bleeding, because he squeezed himself too much, his blood vessels couldn't bear the huge pressure, and they were bursting one by one. But at the same time, his hand was advancing, sunk into the pressed skin. After an unknown amount of time, the dazzling light finally went out, and Hit exhausted 840 of his last ounce of strength. Chi Yu said. Hit, I admit you are the real warrior. Hit looked at Chi Yu. There was a small hole less than an inch on his skin, and a few drops of blood were sliding down from that hole. I did it. After giving everything, he finally did it, causing a tiny wound on Chi Yu's body. After surmounting the arduous practice, at the end of his life, he finally touched a little unreachable peak. After speaking, Hit fell on his back. At this moment, Hit was already covered in blood, his body was separated from the hard ground, and the bright red color was scattered around. Under everyone's gaze, Hit just stopped breathing. After an unknown amount of time, Grand Priest raised his hands and said, I announce that the winner of this match is Chi Yu. Chi Yu tidied up her clothes before turning around and walking towards her stand. At this moment, everyone finally realized how powerful Chi Yu is. Although time has passed, he is still the invincible bald devil. For a while, all the people fell into silence. They stared at Hit's body on the ground, and at Chi Yu's back, each thoughtful. Advertisement. Chapter 175 The Ultimate Showdown. 2 more, please subscribe. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Although it was extremely regrettable, Hit fell down after all. Grand Priest used divine power to move another ring to the center of the arena. Seeing this scene, many people were a little surprised. But think about it, the contestants smashed the entire arena countless times during the last power conference. Grand Priest is not a fool, it is impossible not to prepare. The next game will be K against Simba. Simba, who appeared as a secret weapon, has extraordinary strength. Even for K, this is a severe challenge. Chi Yu beside Katie said, Sir, if I win, can you grant me one wish? Shi Yu was a little surprised that a girl like Kay, who has always regarded herself as a tool, would actually make her own demands, which is very rare. Shi Yu nodded and said, "If you have any wishes, just tell me directly. As long as I can do it, I will definitely help you. My wish is different from ordinary ones, so I must fight for it myself." "Okay then. But you also be careful, if you are not your opponent, don't try to be brave." "I know. After all, Ka jumped onto the ring." Advertisement. Beerus asked Shi Yu, "Can you win?" Beerus said, "She will die if this continues." They all shielded their people behind them and stared at each other. At this time, Grand Priest said, "Now I announce that the match between Kay and Simba has officially started." Shi Yu shook his head and said, "They are about the same strength, so I can't tell. In terms of experience, Kay is more experienced. If we count the chances of winning, our side should be bigger." The majestic energy was released everywhere, like a tsunami, rushing towards the stands. Everyone originally thought that this game would last for a long time. However, at the next moment, Simba's fist hit Kay's abdomen, beating her to death. Soon Kay was hit again and was knocked to the ground. "Let's go back and talk about anything." Shi Yu looked at Camus and said, "This is the first time in my life that I have shot with all my strength." No need for Beerus to say, Shi Yu also knew the consequences. Finally, he couldn't watch it any longer, and directly jumped out of the auditorium and onto the field. Seeing that Simba might not attack Shi Yu, the old Camus also moved at the same time. As soon as Grand Priest's voice fell, the two rushed out at the same time and started a contest. Simba's attack is powerful and heavy, while Kay's is vicious and weird. The figures of the two are like phantom lights, flowing rapidly across the entire arena. Just looking at their identical flame forms, one can tell that these two are warriors of the same level. Advertisement. He seems to be very familiar with Kay's moves, so he can be expected to be alive. There were bursts of explosions, collisions again and again, and they were evenly matched. Everyone looked towards the original arena, and saw two figures standing on each of the two floating gravels. At this time, Camus' muscles were soaring, and he still looked old. He was clearly a terrifying, Zhao's muscular man. The blazing gold flames burned on his body, and every pore in his body was releasing the light of gold. Camus said, "I am the same. What surprised me the most is why my enemy is still standing alive and not reduced to ashes." Shi Yu nodded, and then shouted to Kay, "Kay, come down. This is an unfair battle, there is no need to fight it." Kay shook his head, stubbornly got up from the ground, and faced to one's enemies. Shi Yu said, "After all, Kay has been famous for so many years, and this kid just came out, so it's normal to be targeted. Why? What's going on here?" Beerus suddenly said, "The situation is wrong. The bastards of the first universe, it's really insidious." Before Kay could catch his breath, Simba's figure followed up again. On the other side, Shi Yu's state was extremely similar to his. Blazing white flames were burning on top of his head, like hair, constantly swaggering. At this point, everyone can see it. In fact, Kay's strength is even stronger than Simba's, but Simba has obviously studied Kay's style of play and fighting style, so he can gain an advantage with ease. "I'm going to win this game no matter what," Kay said. Kay soon got punched again and lost ground. Advertisement. "Kay, come down here, it's an order." Grand Priest yelled. "Everyone stand back. It's not up to you." The audience was still watching the game with relish, but at this moment, two figures suddenly appeared on the field. Their movements were so fast that they seemed to be teleporting, and even a peerless powerhouse like Jin couldn't see them. Immediately afterwards, a violent explosion sounded above the ring. The barrier erected by the Grand Priest wanted to block the terrifying energy impact, but the barrier collapsed at the touch of a touch, and was completely disintegrated in an instant. Kay struggled to get up from the ground and said, "Master Chi Yu, I." Beerus said, "It won't work like this, Kay will lose." But Simba didn't think so. He said while doing warm-up exercises, "Actually, it might be unfair to you to say this, but I can't help it. No matter what, I will win this game." This match was considered a focus match. No one could tell whether Kay, the third in the universe, or the next generation Kamisimba would win. To reach such a state, it is almost impossible to make an on-the-spot breakthrough in a short period of time. With all her attacks being predicted in advance, it is indeed impossible for Kay to defeat Simba, unless she also knows everything about her opponent in advance like Simba. Hearing the words of the Grand Priest, people from other universes quickly backed away. Meanwhile, the Grand Priest kept erecting barrier after barrier. It wasn't how many times the Tao had been shattered before the energy tide gradually calmed down. But Kay persisted and tried to stand up. Advertisement. Chapter 176 Beerus vs Jin, who is the strongest gods of destruction. 3 more, please subscribe. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. The two faced each other, and the flames on their bodies became more and more intense. At this moment, Grand Priest stepped forward. Chi Yu, Camus, please stop. This competition is to select the next Xeno. Your behavior of intervening in the middle is very bad. If you don't come to the stands again, I will cancel you qualification for the competition. Chi Yu said. I didn't intend to interfere in the game, I just came to replace K and admit defeat. Grand Priest said. So K player, are you willing to admit defeat? K bit her lip stubbornly and refused to speak. Chi Yu patted her head and said. Actually, it's nothing, he just got your information in advance. With this experience in fighting, you will win the next match in all likelihood. The first universe and the 12th universe are feuds, and both sides are in an endless situation, and Simba should be the secret weapon prepared to deal with the 12th universe. K once said that her and Jin's moves are exactly the same. Simba can not only target K, but also Jin. To be able to understand K's moves so quickly and react so quickly, I am afraid that Simba has been doing various special training in his life for the past 20 years, just waiting for this day to come. I have to admit that although the means were despicable, they did succeed. 500 at this time, K hesitated to speak. Chi Yu continued to comfort him. Are you still thinking about the wish you said before? It doesn't matter. I promise you, as long as I can do it, I will promise you. Finally, K nodded and said, I admit defeat. Advertisement. Immediately afterwards, Chi Yu turned his head to look at K on the ring and said, you better pray that Simba doesn't meet me, otherwise I promise not to give him a chance to admit defeat. What Chi Yu said made Simba break into a cold sweat. He knew that Chi Yu was not joking. And the most frightening thing is that he does have such strength. With Chi Yu's speed, if he got into the ring, he would probably be reduced to ashes without being able to say a single word. Camus said. Before that, you should also pray that you don't meet me in the next round, otherwise I will definitely end the game early. Chi Yu said. As long as you can do it, come. After finishing speaking, Chi Yu supported K to walk off the ring, and the two of them left afterward. Immediately afterwards, the Grand Priest announced Simba's victory. After seeing the strength of Camus and Chi Yu, many people were ashamed. These two people are really too strong. No matter what, the championship can only be produced between these two people. The starter, Beerus, snapped his fingers and stepped onto the ring. Chi Yu helped K to the seat, and then said, come on, let's talk about your wish. Vegeta snorted coldly, and then said, damn the winner in life. K lowered her head and said, actually, I want to be your family just like Taisi and the others. At this moment, Jin Jung said emotionally, yes, I guessed correctly, Chi Yu is indeed a super strong man who can rival Camus. He has also reached that level. Can't you? Even if all the other people add up, I am afraid that none of them is the opponent of any one of them. Except, of course, for one person. Advertisement. Jin nodded and said, that's right, for us, only by helping Chi Yu to Xeno's position can we survive. In the last match, the mighty Son Goku faced Kim from the 12th universe, and unfortunately lost. Goku returned to the field, touched his head in embarrassment and said, sorry, I was eliminated too. Perhaps it was fate. After the results of the next round of lottery came out, it was said that some people were taken aback. Chi Yu unexpectedly met Jiren Po, and Beerus also met his enemy Jin as he wished. Beerus said, from today onwards, I am the strongest gods of destruction. Jin looked at Chi Yu and K, and it could be seen that Chi Yu was very satisfied with the CCAB servant he gave as a gift. If he becomes Xeno, 12th universe Tengo can survive. If the 12th universe can't defeat Camus, then they are doomed because Camus, who became Xeno, can never let go of this group of guys who have been against his family all the year round. Certainly. Jin Dao. I didn't expect you to really come before me, the youngest gods of destruction. Agu sighed. You are the wisest gods of destruction. Jin Dao. Then let us see if you really have such strength. But Jin is really good, I am not his opponent. K immediately grinned. It seemed that God was going to punish him. Vegeta was eliminated within half an hour after he finished speaking. As time went by, the competition became more and more cruel. At the time of the top 32, Tien Bahao was also eliminated one after another. Advertisement. Cough cough cough. Under the gaze of Beerus and others, Chi Yu couldn't help blushing and coughing repeatedly. K blushed and did not dare to look at Chi Yu. What does that matter? As long as you wish, you can speak out, and take it as a reward for your hard work over the years. Just like when the skirmish reached the top 36, the match would end after 2 rounds. At this moment, Grand Priest announced, the final 16 players have been selected, please rest for a while, we will start the final 8 in 10 hours. Immediately afterwards, the Grand Priest announced the start of the game. Is it really possible? Beerus scolded. You idiot, why are you so stupid to draw lots, so there are only 4 people left in our 7th universe. Agudao. Master Jin, have you already guessed this result? For Jin, Chi Yu was his only hope from the very beginning, because before Chi Yu appeared, Camus was truly invincible. Chi Yu was silent for a while, then gritted his teeth and said, "Okay. I didn't mean that, I meant your woman. Idiot, I have already regarded you as family. But I lost." Advertisement. Chapter 178 Intense Contest. 1 update, please subscribe. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Maybe Beerus is really strong, but in Jin's eyes, Beerus is just a young man. Jin, who has crossed the long river of time, has enough confidence to defeat this newcomer who dares to challenge himself. Jin said to Beerus, "From the beginning of this world, I have been the strongest gods of destruction. Until today, no one has raised any doubts about this matter. Beerus, you are the first one who dares to challenge this matter. Gods of destruction who challenge me, although you are destined to fail, I admire your courage." Beerus put his hands behind his back and said, "Whether you win or lose, you won't know until you have fought." He is not a person who is overwhelmed. K's strength is equal to that of Jin, and Beerus understands K's strength. Since he dared to challenge Jin, he must have made enough preparations. Grand Priest announced. Now, the game begins. In an instant, the figures of the two disappeared from the arena at the same time, and appeared in place at the same time. A gust of fresh wind blows through and a few violent roars reach everyone's ears. When thunder strikes, people always see the light of the lightning before hearing the thunder. That's because light travels countless times faster than sound, and just now, the two actually did the same thing with their bodies. There were countless scars on Beerus' body, and so did Jin. Obviously, the two had already fought fiercely, but everything happened so fast that most people couldn't watch it with their naked eyes. What just happened? Who saw it clearly? Grand Priest said. This is of course Ultra Instinct, and it is the highest state of Ultra Instinct. They have truly become one with the environment, and have achieved the perfect harmony between themselves and the world around them. Champa, your brother has achieved what you cannot as the realm of comparison. Grand Priest, who was watching the battle, couldn't help exclaiming. Unexpectedly, these two people have already practiced Ultra Instinct to this level. Beerus and Jin are both geniuses. Advertisement. Vegeta said to Chi Yu. Let's talk about it. What happened in the ring? Vegeta said, doesn't that mean Beerus is doomed? Beerus laughed, it was just a warm-up. After saying that, Beerus began to move around the ring lightly, and Jin did the same. The bodies of the two were as light as two fallen leaves. Everyone looked towards Beerus's waist, just as the others said, there was indeed a fist mark there. Beerus' skin was bruised and his bones were clearly damaged. These two are monsters. At that moment, how many times did they fight each other? Chi Yu said. Their ultra instincts have reached a state of perfection. Every cell in the body will make a judgment at the first time, so it is not so easy to hit the opponent. But Chi Yu patted number 18 who was still cheering and said, don't cheer up, it will distract Beerus. What is needed at this time is calmness, not morale. At this moment, Beerus wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth, and said to Jin, it seems that you are superior in speed and strength. Seeing that everyone's eyes were on him, Chi Yu shook his head and said, just now Jin hit Beerus 49 times, and Beerus returned the gold 31 times. Jin has the upper hand. Especially the one in the abdomen punch, Beerus should be seriously injured. Jin Dao. Are you convinced? Young gods of destruction. Advertisement. Vegeta said in amazement. Haven't met the other party. How can this be possible? Champa has never been Beerus' opponent, and this meeting, the gap between the two has been completely widened. Everyone has seen Son Goku use Ultra Instinct, and the silver flame is the symbol of Ultra Instinct, but the two of them have nothing on them now. They seem to have become a common person in an instant, without energy or energy. Seeking Flowers 0. Champa raised his head and said to Grand Priest, Master Grand Priest. Is this Ultra Instinct? Suddenly erupted while both were breathing, and the bodies of both of them turned into fuzzy phantoms, covering the entire arena. The whistling sound of piercing the air was gathered, and the strong wind blew everything around it into sand. The two figures turned into two hurricanes on the ring, circulating continuously, and finally, a terrifying explosion sounded from the ring. Vegeta widened his eyes and said, which one of them got punched? At this time, Beerus and Kim finally made contact. But this time he didn't mock Beerus, instead he learned from the 7th universe and shouted to the ring, Beerus, come on, you are my Champa's younger brother. The two have been attacking each other. Just now, Master Jin has punched more than 200 punches, and Beerus has the same number. But until now, they have not met each other. On-site strength can stabilize these two. Apart from Grand Priest and Camus, I am afraid that there is only Chi Yu, a bald guy. Also as a partner of the 7th universe, Son Goku is also concerned about the combat effectiveness just now and who has the upper hand. Advertisement. Just like lightning. 10. Once he is hit by the opponent with all his strength at this time, not to mention winning or losing, whether he can survive is probably a problem. They are like acrobats on a tightrope, with no chance for them to relax. In addition to physical strength, this is also a campus on a spiritual level. But whoever hits the opponent first will win. Son Goku said to Chi Yu, "Did you see clearly? What happened just now?" At this moment, both Beerus and Jin's powers were raised to the extreme. Although they have never fought against each other before, their styles in martial arts are surprisingly similar. They are both good at attacking but not good at defending. Hearing Chi Yu's words, number 18 could only keep his mouth shut silently. Chi Yu didn't speak, but K answered instead of him. Although already injured, K is still a strong man in the same realm as them. Chi Yu shook his head and said, "It's still unclear, both parties are just probing." Advertisement. Chapter 179 Beerus died in battle. 2 more, please subscribe. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Once entering the Ultra Instinct state, the gap between Beerus and Jin has been negligible. At this point, the competition between each other is no longer physical harmony, but one's own spirit. When the loud noise resounded on the ring, the phantoms all over the sky disappeared in an instant, and only 2 gods of destruction standing back to back appeared on the field. Who actually won? There was a loud bang just now, and that was the sound of someone being hit. Everyone started talking, but Vegeta and the others looked at Chi Yu beside him, who shook his head and sighed, "What a pity. Beerus lost." Just then, Beerus spoke. "Jin, you are really too strong." The noisy audience fell silent instantly. 543, Jin said. "You two, young gods of destruction, I take back what I just said. From today onwards, I will not be the strongest gods of destruction in the universe." Beerus said. "I never expected to become Xeno, because Chi Yu and Camus are here, so I have no chance. But now, I have not been able to achieve my goal after all, to become the strongest gods of destruction." After all, the 2 bodies fell down in different directions at the same time, and then fell to pieces. Advertisement. In fact, the loud noise just now was not 1 sound, but 2. It's just overlapping, so it's impossible to tell them apart. In that short moment, they hit each other at the same time, so Chi Yu said it was a pity. There was no winner in this match. Both Beerus and Kim tried their best, but neither survived. Dead. That Beerus who sleeps all day and goes to the earth to eat snacks is dead. Before everyone came back to their senses, the bodies of Beerus and Jin had turned into debris and were blown away by the wind. The indestructible body of gods of destruction was completely destroyed by the opponent with just 1 blow. "Beerus is dead too," Grand Priest said. "What an amazing fight, I declare double Fang Ping hands." In order to defeat Chi Yu, he has undergone no less practice than Hit, and in terms of strength, Jirenpo is also stronger. But such a person chose to admit defeat at a critical moment, which made Chi Yu unable to understand. Just now, Chi Yu and Camus showed everyone their invincible strength, so it is not surprising that everyone surrendered to Chi Yu. But this person is Jiren, it is very surprising. In just 1 week, the genius warriors from all the universes died one after another. Why did Xeno do this? After finishing speaking, Chi Yu looked at Grand Priest. P.S. The plot is almost finished and the next world will soon reveal its secret, so stay tuned. Simba looked at Hit, and saw that the leaving figure was full of loneliness. Maybe it was not easy for him to make such a choice. Simba thought so. In Grand Priest's tone, a trace of urgency. This time, Chi Yu was the first to play, and his opponent was another Jirenpo who regarded him as his old enemy. Advertisement. But I didn't expect that Zhou Lianpo would say, "I admit defeat." Chi Yu said. "Why? I don't believe you are scared anymore." Chi Yu said. "What do you want to say?" After Hit left the field, the game became much less exciting. Simba said, "Is it really okay for Jiren to break like this?" Jirenpo's fighting spirit is also incomparably firm, and when he was still weaker, he still dared to challenge Chi Yu. There was no reason for him to abstain when the day finally came. After that, Gohan defeated the first gods of destruction Ivan, and Simba and Camus also defeated their opponents of course. In this way, the semifinals completely became a contest between the 7th universe and the 1st universe. Going into the ring like this is purely courting death. No matter how stupid Gohan is, he will not refuse such a request. Grand Priest nodded. Do Son Gohan and Simba agree with their proposal? Jiren said firmly. Then I will continue to practice until I can defeat you, and I will never give up. Chi Yu said with a smile. As long as I become Xeno, that Simba will also die. And this may be the only interesting duel in my life. If this is the case, then let's start. I can't wait. Jiren broke out. Because I don't want to die. If I die, I will completely lose the chance of defeating you. There is no Super Shenron in this conference reward, I can't do it 10 times again. There is no Dragon Ball in the 11th universe, so if Jiren dies, he is really dead. Advertisement. Let them all abstain. Let's hurry up and start our battle. There was a roar of cheers from the audience, and everyone applauded Beerus and Jin's battle. In this way, the top 16 matches have come to an end. Before you know it, the game is already the quarterfinals. Chi Yu said. But what if I become Zeno? After finishing speaking, Jiren turned around and walked off the ring alone. Ivan said. Everyone has their own way of fighting. Jiren did nothing wrong, on the contrary. He chose a seemingly difficult, but the only way. It is not only people who died in battle like Hit, that's what counts as a brave man. Chi Yu couldn't help shaking his head and sighing. No matter what, this match was a bit too cruel. He couldn't help but wonder, does this match really make sense for Grand Priest and Zeno? The advanced contestants are asked to draw their own competition numbers. Chi Yu looked at Grand Priest, only to see a layer of gloom covering that blue face. At this moment, the box used to draw lots appeared in front of Chi Yu's eyes again. Grand Priest announced. After discussions between the 7th universe and the 1st universe, we have decided to cancel the semi-finals and go directly to the finals. Now, Chi Yu and Camus are invited to come on stage. Simba also said. I agree to abstain. It seems that fate is playing a joke with everyone. In the draw of the semi-finals, Chi Yu got Simba as he wished, and Camus got Son Gohan. Standing in the stands, Camus said to Chi Yu, if you kill Simba, I will kill Son Gohan too. You know, I also have that ability, and I won't give him any chance to beg for mercy. Gohan said. I agree to abstain. Advertisement. Chapter 180 The Final Showdown, Chi Yu's Camus. 3 more, please subscribe. Previous chapter. Next chapter. Advertisement. Now, Chi Yu and Camus please come on stage. Everyone held their breath as the Grand Priest was announced. In fact, everyone understands that the final winner can only be produced between these two people, because the strength gap between them and others is too great. Chi Yu took off his sports jacket, revealing his strong muscles, and Camus also put down his cane, and then came to the ring. As these two players joined the battle, the wind seemed to have become a little more bleak, and many people couldn't help shivering. Grand Priest said. Considering that players Chi Yu and Camus are really too strong, everyone please back off immediately. With a wave of his hand, the auditorium receded towards the endless void at the fastest speed. The angels of each universe take out their wands and begin, live broadcasting, the match. Chi Yu said. I've never really enjoyed fighting. Camus said. Me too, because I've never met a 22-hand opponent good enough to fight. Chi Yu asked. Are we similar? Camus said. So this battle is unique and worth betting on our most precious things, don't you think? Advertisement. What are you betting on? Gamble your life. Chi Yu felt his heart beating violently, and the boiling blood spread along his veins to all parts of his body. He took a deep breath and said, what a wonderful proposal. White's blazing flame was ignited, and in a trance, Chi Yu came to that messy world again. There, the last consciousness of One Punch Man still sat upright. He looked at Chi Yu and said, why are you here again? Chi Yu said. I have come to fulfill your wish. I have found an enemy who is truly capable of fighting. After finishing speaking, Chi Yu stretched out his hands to those chains on his body, and then tore them off completely. One Punch Man laughed, a heroic laugh. Then let's fight the battle and tell the best stories in the blood. That is not chi, nor is it pure energy. No one can tell what the blazing flame is, because no one has reached such a state except Chi Yu and Camus. 2 fiery rays of light shone in the void, and the moment Chi Yu and Camus roared, the arena was turned into nothingness. In such a battle, the so-called arena itself has no meaning. The flames were like hair, floating above the heads of the two of them. From their eyes, there was only endless light. Camus' muscles bulged, and he tore his monk's robe to pieces, and said to Chi Yu, are you ready? Advertisement. Then come on. The two raised their fists and waved to each other at the same time. An unprecedented shock instantly swept across the endless realm of nothingness. Although everyone had already fled to a distant place, they were still completely shaken. When everyone woke up from the muddle and looked at the screens of the angels again, everyone lost their voices at that moment. At the place where the fists of the two people met, countless energies spewed out, and then gathered together and gradually cooled down. In the end, these energies formed patches of galaxies and planets. Gohan said. My God, is this the origin of the world? Before being a warrior, Gohan was first and foremost a scholar. In the concept of physics, the universe originated from an explosion of energy on an unprecedented scale. When this energy gradually cooled, galaxies and worlds were formed. At this moment, the strength of the two powerhouses has truly reached the point where the world was created. Endless energy flowed between them. Chi Yu clenched his fist, then looked at the new world around him and said, I never thought that my full blow could create such a beautiful scene. Camus said. I think so too, but it's not enough. After saying that, the two rushed towards each other for the second time. This time, without the reminder from the Grand Priest, everyone spontaneously fled frantically to a more distant place. The battle between Qiyu and Camus started completely. Every collision between the two will bring a terrible shock. The energy of the explosion forms a sphere, which continues to expand in the void. Perhaps after hundreds of millions of years, a brand new world will appear there. A world bigger and vaster than the world of Dragon Ball. Zeno stood up from his chair, with excited little stars in his eyes. Advertisement. The bald devil and Camus are really amazing, and the light is really beautiful. In the past, when Zeno spoke, everyone would listen carefully, but this time, no one jumped out to answer his exclamation. Because at this moment, everyone is witnessing a myth. Seeing such power, Jiren asked in a daze, do I really have a chance to defeat Qiyu? Vermut said. I can only take your words as a joke. This is the power of despair. 847 is the ultimate in the extreme. While everyone was shocked by the scene of the battle, the enthusiasm of Qiyu and Camus was at an all-time high. Qiyu put on a strange posture, and then said, this is a martial arts skill from another world that I prepared for you. At the same time, the blazing flame on Camus swelled again. Can you narrow the gap between us with just this? As predicted before the game, after the efforts of countless generations of genius warriors in the first universe, Camus indeed possesses more powerful aura and energy than Qiyu. If it was just head-to-head, Qiyu would definitely lose, so he studied a set of 4 2-2-stroke boxing techniques. Now, finally, the time has come for the test to succeed. Another powerful blow, Qiyu's hand rested on Camus' arm faster than light, and then dragged hard. In an instant, Camus lost his balance, and his chest opened wide. Qiyu raised his fist and let out a roar, then blasted towards Camus' chest. Super Killer Series, Super Serious Punch. P.S. Here comes the most exciting part. Call it a day after finishing the game, so what is the next world? Some readers have already guessed it, and I will reveal the secret in the final chapter. Advertisement.